What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 13, and today we're going to take a look at the National Fantasy Baseball Championships. See, there are drafts already going on for the 2022 season for some big money, and 83 drafts have been completed. They have actually totaled out everybody's average draft position, and we're going to take a look at some of these numbers because this, at least with early rankings, this is the best way to take a look at it because these are players who are playing for money, big money in some cases. With me today to break these matchups down from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Trying to avoid fires here. We got half the state's on fire right now, so that's cool. But it smells like smoke outside. But otherwise, we're good. We're good. Happy to be here.
You know what? This past summer was like that with wildfires in California that were blowing smoke into Reno. It was terrible here for like 3 months. I hated it, and I don't envy you right now, especially with the cold too. Like that's got to be terrible.
Yeah, we're supposed to get our first big snowfall tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes.
Good luck with that. Good luck. With us as well, the only Yankee fan that will ever appear on this broadcast, Mike Haber. Mike, how are you tonight, sir?
Doing pretty well, Joe. Enjoying my break from school, which has been glorious. We don't have fires in Jersey, but we do have 27,000 COVID cases. So trying to avoid that situation. Otherwise, doing great. Thrilled to be talking baseball with you gentlemen, and Happy New Year before I forget to say that.
We are finally saying goodbye to 2021, and well, we're skeptically hoping it'll be okay in 2022. I mean, we're locked out right now. We'll get to a lockout show when we get to a lockout show. At this point, just get through the end of this year and let's take a look at 2022. But for right now, let's take a look at 2022's rankings here. And we're going to start at catcher. I have a couple of guys here all going, well, they're both going at 159 overall. And it's two rookies. Now, one was a rookie in 2021, and the second will be his rookie season in 2022. Tyler Stevenson of the Cincinnati Reds and Keibert Ruiz of the Washington Nationals. Jason, I'm going to kick this one to you first. Which guy do you prefer at that spot?
That's tough. That's a good one. I think I'm gonna lean a little bit towards Stevenson right now. Mm-hmm. He has the first base eligibility, which is nice, and he plays in Great American Ballpark, which is a plus. And like you said, he's at least had a season to get acclimated. Keibert Ruiz has all the potential in the world. I just don't know, can he reach it? I know you're not a big fan of the Reds this year, but I think they're still going to be better than the Nationals are going to be. So I give the slight edge to Stevenson, but honestly, it's pretty much splitting hairs with these two.
Mike Haber, how do you see this one? I personally lean Ruiz, but I could hear the case for Stevenson. Where are you at?
I tend to lean Ruiz as well, just because Tyler Stevenson will where did he come from? Where did this guy come from? Mm-hmm. And he had a good season last year, and to Jason's argument, I will say that with Tucker Barnhart gone, this guy has a path to more playing time in Cincinnati, which is huge. But Ruiz is a known prospect, so and a highly touted prospect on a Nationals team that may be, I don't know.
Yeah,
something. Who knows?
And look, but this time next year, I could be saying, oh yeah, Ruiz was definitely the guy. But going into the draft, going into 2022, I'm giving the slight edge to Stevenson.
I think I like Ruiz. I like the path of playing time. I mean, the Nationals have nobody else standing in this dude's way, and he was the piece in the Max Scherzer trade. You've got to get something out of this. So you're going to give him all the chance in the world. The other one I have here at catcher is just below them. It's actually the next two guys to go. Adley Rutschman of the Baltimore Orioles at 194 and Travis d'Arnaud, 201. interesting pairing here because one guy hasn't even played a single inning of professional Major League Baseball, and the other has some health concerns year after year. So it's really who do you believe is going to have more playing time at season's end? Mike Haber, I'll start with you.
Oh, that's a tough one. With the catcher position, for me personally, it's usually a revolving door of players that just sort of plug and play. So I'd be thrilled to take a flyer on this Rutschman guy who was the number 1 overall pick. If I don't, right? Who's the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah.
This is a guy that my brother and I watched in the College World Series together, and this dude can play. And
now this isn't in the bigs. It's not this late round pick, man. This is like the early 13th round.
Well, truth be told, I probably wouldn't pick a catcher here, but if I had to pick
I want to put that in perspective. Like that's where this is going to end up being. Right.
I tend to lean towards Rutschman here, just for the upside alone.
Gotcha. Jason, same question.
Yeah, and I kind of side with Mike here too. Like I don't know if at this point, like if I've already missed out on the Realmutos and the Will Smiths and like the top tier catchers, I'm probably not taking a catcher here. I'm probably waiting toward the end of the draft or later in the draft. But I it's tough for me to take a guy who hasn't played an inning of baseball, of Major League Baseball. It's tough, but I hear the argument against d'Arnaud because he can't stay on the field. But when he's on the field, he's good. Like he's proven that he can hit and he can play. Yeah, I probably give the slight edge to d'Arnaud. Kind of the same thing with Stevenson and Ruiz. Like I could be eating those words in the first month of the season. But going in, I feel like d'Arnaud is still a little bit more of a sure thing just because he's proven.
I gotcha. And I'll lean Rutschman for this kind of the same reason Mike Haber is here. The upside play here. You think this dude could be a 30 homer catcher, and that's not something you get even in the 13th round. Let's take a look at some guys that you two saw that you might buy in on at the number here, and I'll kick it off first here. Alejandro Kirk at 241. Give me that guy all day long. You're going to tell me I can get him in the 16th round? I'll wait on these guys that we're talking about. Mike Haber, do you have one?
Another catcher?
Yeah, do you have a catcher that you like at or think is too high, too low, some outlier?
I'd probably have to. I mean, I kind of like Joey Bart. I like the ups. If we're talking about upside catchers who you can get at the end of the draft, I kind of like that idea. Playing for like a sneaky Giants team with Posey gone.
That's early 18th round if you want him, and that seems more like a good price to be buying in on somebody. Yeah. If I'm being honest, Jason, do you have a guy that you're interested in?
Well, there's two that stand out to me here. Omar Narvaez, I think, is a guy who has some sneaky pop and I think he can, approach 20 home runs. So if you're getting him that late in the draft, sign me up for that. But I find it amazing that Dalton Varsho is going right now the 4th catcher off the board.
Wow.
Like ahead of Grandal, ahead of Contreras, ahead of the guys we just talked about. I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't know if he would go that high in the bigs.
I don't think he would either. They're saying he's going 100th overall. I mean, that's where I got Matt Olson last year. I remember distinctly having the 100th pick and going, "That's Matt Olson, thank you."
And don't get me wrong, like I think Varsho is going to be a quality piece. He's got the outfield eligibility. He's going to have playing time finally, and I think he's gonna. I think he's a good sleeper candidate.
Yeah,
but I
it's
don't know. But
it's early 7th round. That is a dangerous thing on a terrible Arizona Diamondbacks team.
Right. I don't know if I'm taking him ahead of Grandal, probably even Contreras.
I wouldn't take him in front of Contreras. I wouldn't take him in front of Ruiz. I wouldn't take him in front of Stevenson. I might take him in front of Adley Rutschman, who's the next one, and d'Arnaud at almost 200. but that's twice as far as he's going right now.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty interesting.
Interesting. The other one I had here was Jorge Alfaro going 396. That is criminal for what that bat could be. That is late 25th round. Like, fourth outfielder, fine, but as my catcher, I actually really like it if he's gonna play left field for the Padres.
That's a good point.
Let's move on to first base, gentlemen, and I've got 3 here. Each of them have 3 in the ranking, so I want you to pick a guy that you want to have, hate, and we'll bench. we'll call it, all right? So it's start, cut, and bench. We'll call it that.
Okay.
We'll start at Ryan Mountcastle at 110, Jared Walsh at 116, DJ LeMahieu at 117. Jason, I'm going to start with you. Who are you starting? Who are you benching? And who are you cutting?
I'm cutting LeMahieu.
Okay.
Of these guys. And I'm probably starting Jared Walsh, and I'll bench Mountcastle. I think Walsh, he's going to get playing time now, like, for real. Like, we kind of saw what he could do last year. I think he's going to take a step up, and the Angels are just better than the Orioles.
There's not a whole lot of teams you could say that about. Like, there's not a whole lot of teams that you could be like, yeah, the Angels are definitely better than them. Because I don't know if they're better than the Tigers right now.
No, but
right?
They're better than the Orioles. And I just and I don't know if Jared Walsh still has his outfield eligibility for the bigs, but I don't know. I think he's got some good pop. But don't get me wrong, like, I would take Mountcastle too. Like, if I was, Walsh was off the board, Mountcastle was there, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, okay. So you would probably put it in order of Walsh, Mountcastle, LeMahieu. Like, with LeMahieu apparently very much further down. Is that what I'm gathering here?
Yeah, I mean, my expectations for LeMahieu are very low. We know this.
Yeah. We've documented that. Go check out our first or second base show. We'll hear all about it. Mike Haber, the Yankee fan. Where do you put DJ LeMahieu among these 3 guys?
It's a tough call. It really is. I think I would probably agree with Jason and start Jared Walsh, but I would most likely be cutting Ryan Mountcastle and benching LeMahieu.
Interesting.
I like the multi-position eligibility that LeMahieu on my bench could offer. And I like him for a bounce back season like we talked about in previous shows. Mountcastle has a high whiff rate as well. He strikes out a bunch. Could he regress after last year? Yeah, maybe. So I'm gonna go Walsh start, LeMahieu bench, Mountcastle cut.
I really like Ryan Mountcastle. I really, really do. But I think he's also my cut. Because if he struggles, well, there's no reason to not send him down to the minors and figure it out. He's got options. Right? If he starts out in April and May, which he did last season, if he starts out bad, maybe they just go, all right, go figure it out down there this time. And maybe when you come back, you're good. So for that reason, I'm cutting Mountcastle. I'm starting DJ LeMahieu. I believe in a bounce back this much that I'm willing to put him and his triple eligibility over the left-hander in between Trout and Rendon, I think, is how that lineup should shake out. Realistically, it's those 4 guys, with Ohtani being the 4th guy. And then what exactly? I don't think this lineup is as good as everyone thinks it is. Like, this is obviously the 4th best hitter in this lineup, who's just happens to be the other left-handed guy. Great. He's going to perform, but I'll take my chance with LeMahieu on a bounce back as a guy who's won a batting title before.
I agree.
Let's move a little bit further down here, and I will go Ty France at 141 for Jason. Josh Bell at 142, also for Jason. And for our boy Costas, Rhys Hoskins at 146. let's have a conversation about these three guys. Mike Haber, let's kick it off. How do you see this trio of guys shaking out?
I think that I'm gonna go. Damn, that's tough. I think I'm gonna. Damn, that's tough. I think I'm gonna start Rhys Hoskins, and I'm going to bench Josh Bell, and I'm gonna cut Ty France.
Wow.
Probably
Jason.
The opposite of
Jason
what you
Ashby,
guys
those are
gonna say.
fighting words, huh? Like your man crush on Ty France is enormous and documented. Tell us why you're starting Ty France in this option.
Yeah. Look, I mean, right now, baseball or Fangraphs, Baseball Resource has Ty France batting cleanup for the Mariners. Like in between Adam Frazier and batting cleanup between Mitch Haniger and Jared Kelenic. Like that's a good spot in the lineup to be if that's where he's gonna hit.
If you believe in a Kelenic bounce back.
And Adam Frazier is gonna be hitting second. Like there's gonna be run scoring opportunities there. Yeah, so I'm probably starting Ty France. And let's see, and then it was
Josh Bell and Rhys Hoskins.
Rhys Hoskins. I'd probably give the edge to Rhys Hoskins. Better team, better ballpark. And hopefully there's a bounce back there. He was battling injuries last year. But I think Josh Bell is a good pick too. He's got outfield eligibility now. But I give the edge to Hoskins as my bench.
Interesting. I really don't know, honestly, what the Nationals lineup looks like for a moment. Lane Thomas, Cesar Hernandez, Juan Soto, Josh Bell, whatever a Yadiel Hernandez is, and then Kyber Ruiz. It's an interesting lineup because there's 3 switch hitters in it. And Juan Soto, who's arguably the best bat in baseball. And he's batting cleanup in that lineup. Ty France is batting cleanup in Seattle's lineup. And I'm willing to bet you that Rhys Hoskins is batting cleanup in Philly, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like probably right behind Bryce. Oh, no, they have him batting second because of the on-base percentage.
Yeah,
but that means he's hitting in front of Bryce Harper, which will score him a ton of runs. So it's an interesting trio here. I just seem to not trust the Phillies offense. The Phillies just aren't good. I don't know what it is. I don't understand what's wrong with this lineup. It just doesn't work. Rhys Hoskins is my cut. I'm starting Ty France in that lineup. Now, I don't know that Ty France is going to have the same season he did last year, but I see a way it could be even better. J.P. Crawford and Adam Frazier are table setters. Say what you will about Adam Frazier not having any pop. He's a guy who can get on base.
Exactly.
Mitch Haniger had 40 home runs last year, and Ty France is right behind him. Do I believe in a Kelenic bounce back? Maybe. Do I believe in a Kyle Lewis bounce back? Maybe. One of those two guys hits, you've got yourself the middle of the order. I like it. Plus the second base eligibility kind of breaks the tie for me.
Yeah.
So I'll start Ty France, I'll bench Josh Bell, and cut Rhys Hoskins. The final one here, guys, are down around the 230s. It's Brandon Belt, Bobby Dahlbeck, and Frank Schwindel at 234. I know some people like Frank Schwindel. Mike Haber, you're in on Frank Schwindel, right?
Yeah, he's. I think he's going a little too low for me, honestly.
Yeah, that's middle of the 15th round.
Yeah.
So which one of these three are you starting? That, I have to ask as if.
I'm gonna start Frank Schwindel. And it was Dahlbeck, and who was the third one?
Brandon Belt.
Oh, I'm cutting Brandon Belt, and Bobby Dahlbeck will be on my bench.
Interesting. You're cutting the first baseman of the best team in baseball in 2021.
But how much playing time did he have?
He was hurt for a period of time.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing with Belt. It's always been that thing with Belt.
But Belt, he's been around for a while, and he's always been mediocre. Like he had a good couple of months last year or the year before, but he's never been a fantasy baseball like cog.
Until last season, he had never hit more than 18 home runs in a season. At the same time, he played 156 in 2019, hit 17 homers, 57 RBIs, and a 234 batting average. That was bad. 2020 was good, 9 homers in 51 games and a 300 batting average. Last year in 97 games, he hit 29 home runs and 59 RBIs. That's the weirdest thing about this whole thing, is that Brandon Belt drove himself in 29 times and then drove 30 other guys in. Insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, 274 and a 378 on base percentage. I don't hate Brandon Belt. Jason, where are you on these three guys?
Absolutely, I'm starting Bobby Dahlbeck without even thinking about it. Of these three,
Wow.
The guys that he's batting behind, Kike Hernandez, Rafi Devers, Dander Bogarts, JD Martinez, Alex Verdugo. Yeah, I'll take Bobby Dahlbeck, and I think he showed some signs this past year. I think he's going to be a real sleeper at first base.
That's a lot of strikeouts. That is a lot of strikeouts and no walks.
Okay, that's
156 strikeouts in 417 plate appearances, or I'm sorry, at bats. That is a lot of strikeouts.
Maybe he cuts him down. But
I hope so.
I just love the lineup that he's in, and I feel like
it is the best lineup without question.
Yeah, and I feel like he's just I don't know I don't know what it was that I saw last year, but I just feel like he's right there. I feel like he's on the precipice of a really good season. So, I probably cut both of these other two. Honestly, can I do that? Because I don't know what a Frank Schwindel is, and you kind of hit the nail on the head with Brandon Belt. Like, I can't trust that he's going to be in there full time. So I guess maybe he's my bench, and when he starts, I start him. But like, I don't really
have no interest in Frank Schwindel.
Not really.
No. Mike Haber, those are fighting words. What?
I'll take Ty France.
What are you seeing?
You take Frank Schwindel.
There you go. That's who has a better season this year, Mike Haber, Ty France or Frank Schwindel?
I think Frank Schwindel has a better season this year.
Damn,
I can see it.
All in on it.
I'm all in on this guy. This guy,
you're Schwindel.
I am. He schwun me over.
You're getting him in the 15th round. That's incredible. You know, I could see you jumping on him in the 10th or 11th round just to make sure you get him. But even then, you're still going after guys like Ty France and Rhys Hoskins, and that makes this position really, really deep.
Yeah.
I even go one further, and let's take a look at the guys you noticed were outliers at this position. I'll start. I'm still all in on Rowdy Tellez at 379. Are you kidding me? You're going to give me this dude in the 24th round all day. I'll throw him on my bench and make sure that he's got the job. But you're going to give him to me for free? That's a guy like if Christian Yelich bounces back and he has a good season, this could be astronomical. You guys see any others? Jason, I'll start with you.
Yeah, a little bit higher up, but Yuli Guriel, he's the reigning batting champ in the American League, and he's going 200 essentially. Like, in the Astros lineup, I probably would take him over like Kirilloff and Stevenson, and I move him.
Would you take him ahead of Rizzo?
I mean, it kind of depends on where Rizzo goes, but
Rizzo's going 165 right now. 165 would put that in the 11th round.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, again, it depends on where Rizzo lands, like what team he goes to.
Oh, right. Well, what about Joey Votto then? Joey Votto's 2 picks earlier at 163, and he's going to be in Cincy.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd probably take Guriel just slightly over Votto. I feel like Votto, he's got to be on a decline at some point. So, yeah, but I definitely take Guriel over like Stevenson, who right now is going 5 spots ahead of him.
Right. Mike Haber, You see any outliers here that you'd jump on?
Yeah. So off air, Jason mentioned something along the lines of like, how do we even draft this early because we don't know where guys are going to end up, etc. And that's a great point. But as of right now, the New York Yankees' first baseman is Luke Voigt, who is at 281st right now.
It's middle of the 18th round. That's pretty insane. And
if I could get him there, I'll take it.
That's exactly my point. Like, I love this pick because this is exactly what I did in 2020 in the shortened season, and all he did was lead the majors in home runs.
Yeah.
Like, don't forget that kind of run exists in this guy. And I'm all in on that. I'll also, for the record, and tip of the cap and one day belated happy birthday to our fourth co-host not here today, Ben. Carlos Santana's going 449, dude. That's undrafted in our league. Just so you know, you don't have to even draft him this year, let alone in the top 20 rounds. Let's move to second base, gentlemen. Let's talk about. All right, this is the first 4-piece I've got for you. All right. So this is ranked these 4. We're gonna start with Tommy Edman at 82, Brandon Lau at 83, Ketel Marte at 84, and Jorge Polanco at 86.
Aye.
These 4 guys going 4 picks apart. Who wants to go first?
Can I get the names again?
Yes. Edman, Lau, Marte, Polanco.
Yeah, I'll make it easy. I probably, for me, I probably go in that reverse order.
Really? Polanco first?
Yeah. Because he has the shortstop eligibility still. Gosh, you know what? I'm looking this over. Tommy Edman is definitely last for me. I have no interest in Tommy Edman.
Interesting. The top of the order in front of Goldschmidt, Arenado, and O'Neill, and you're not interested.
Yeah, I mean, he might have a good season, but he never excites me at all. I feel like
isn't that kind of the point with the Cardinals? Like, isn't this David Eckstein? Like,
yeah, and David Eckstein never excited me.
He stole 30 bases last year. That's not nothing.
Yeah, but I feel like guys like Lau and Marte and Polanco, like they can do just more other things. Like, I mean, Lau hit 40 home runs, and Marte can be a 2020 guy. Polanco could be a 2020 guy. Like, so I feel like Edman is just the steals. Like, and maybe he'll.
Okay, Jorge Polanco has never stolen more than 13 bases in a season, and I hate this narrative that he's like he could be a 2020 guy, or he could just like
guy.
He's hit more than he hit 22 homers in 2019, the year I had him, which was terrific. And then he hit 33 last year, which is a career high. He's 28. I like the timing of this. I don't know if I'd put him above. Mike Haber, where are you on this? Like, this is an interesting group of 4 guys.
It really is.
You may have the same order as me, Joe. I'm going to go Ketel Marte 1. I'm going to go Polanco 2, Edman 3, Brandon Lau 4.
Interesting.
You guys know how I feel about Brandon Lau in every show.
Yes, and I figured like throwing Brandon Lau in here is a meme for you. Is you're going to see a few of those along the way here.
And I think Marte for me was an easy choice for number 1. I think that he's got the most potential as far as talent goes. I think that Marte has the most talent in this list.
Yeah, I'm probably with you there at putting him at the top of that list.
We're talking about a mid-6th round pick. Mid-6th round is where this is going. So yeah, I think I'm with you that if I'm going in one of these 4 directions in the middle of the 6th round, I do want to bet on the highest upside. And for that reason, I think you have to go Ketel Marte here. However, a safe option is the boring option, and I think Tommy Edman is 2 for me. You're not going to get buried by a bad batting average. You're going to score a ton of runs. You're going to steal a good number of bases. say you already have Trey Turner on your team, and now you add Tommy Edman, all of a sudden you've kind of done what Costas did last year in getting Trey Turner and Alberto Mondesi.
Yeah.
Right? You did it for cheaper.
Yeah.
I'll then go ahead and take Brandon Lau because of the power upside. Plus, I feel like he has outfield eligibility, which it's not showing on NFBC, but I think on Yahoo it does. And that'll leave Jorge Polanco. And Polanco isn't a bad option, but the shortstop eligibility isn't as valuable as it used to be. And I probably wouldn't be playing him there anyway. So that's my 4. Let's go, Jason. Did we ever get your order?
No. So yeah, I'll do it as okay. You sold me. So we'll do Marte, Lau, Edman, and Polanco. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, you sold me.
All right.
Wow.
All right. Let's jump quite a bit down here and get into the mid 200s, and let's talk about Gene Segura at 211 and Gavin Lux at 213. And we're talking about a pick here in the early 14th round. So you're probably finishing up much of your position. This might be a starter on your team, hypothetically. And you're talking about Lux or Segura. Mike Haber, let's start with you.
I think I'm going to go Gavin Lux in this situation. I think he's got a stronger path to playing time this year. And I had him at the end of last year when this guy got hot, and I think he proved to the Dodgers how valuable he is on this team. And for that reason alone, I think I'm gonna. What'd you say? 16th round?
14th round.
14th round. I'd be happy with Gavin Lux on my team in round 14.
The only question I have for this is, where do you see the path for playing time?
Yeah.
Well, let me bring up their lineup.
So if you say it's second base, I counter with Chris Taylor, who just signed a big deal.
Yeah.
If you're saying center field, I counter with Cody Bellinger.
Yeah. And that's just it. Like roster resource here doesn't even have Lux in the starting lineup for the Dodgers, whereas they have Segura leading off for the Phillies. And there's really nobody else on the Phillies bench that I feel like can compete for his playing time. So I think as long as he's
not
healthy,
at second base, maybe that kid Bryson Stott comes up and steals D's time, but
as long as Segura is healthy, I think if he is hitting at the top of that order, in front of Hoskins and Harper and Real Muto, I'd probably take Segura. I've taken Lux before, and that bit me in the ass. So I'm a little jaded, and I don't really like Gene Segura, so I probably don't take either of these guys. But given the option between the two of them, I would probably take Segura.
I love the idea of what Lux can be, but I don't think taking a 14th round. This isn't the spot where you go after your NA spot or a guy on the DL. This isn't the time to pick that. And that's what this is with Gavin Lux. You're hoping that he finds playing time because you like the idea of what he can be. But what if he's just not that? I have to lean Segura here, and I'm probably with Jason. I'm not taking either one of these guys, honestly.
I think I was also kind of thinking and hoping that with the DH, Gavin Lux would have at least more potential to get into the lineup on a regular basis. That was kind of my thinking.
That might make things different.
That's a good point.
That might make things different. I think Matt Beatty and he could split time and find a way to get this in. I think Bellinger is the most obvious, but we're also not counting on Max Muncy for a full season this year, I think, because he has that elbow thing. So I don't know. This is one of those we'll have
Bellinger could play first.
We're gonna have to revisit this in March when we see how this playing time is really gonna shake out.
Yeah.
Let's move another 100 picks down, and we're talking now. We're into the 19th and 20th rounds in the bigs. You got Luis Arise at 309. Mike Haber's man crush Adam Frazier at 310. And Jeff McNeil at 310 as well. So, which one of these three guys are you starting, benching, and cutting? Mike Haber, I think this might be easy for you, so I'll go ahead and just throw this one at you.
All right. I think that I may surprise you here. I'm going to start Luis Arise, and I'm going to bench Adam Frazier, and I'm going to cut Jeff McNeil.
Wow. That is not how I saw it going. I figured you would be cutting Adam Frazier, but the move to Seattle you like a lot there?
I like the move there. I don't think I'm ever going to draft Adam Frazier on my team, but I like him better than McNeil for what he has to offer and where he's going to hit in that lineup.
I don't like what you're saying about my boy Jeff McNeil. Jason, get in there. Tell him.
Yeah.
Tell him about Jeff McNeil.
Yeah, well, tell me everything.
Yeah, he's a squirrel. It's funny because I was looking at Adam Frazier as my guy as my standout guy here in this list, that he's going in the 19th round. Like, if he's available in the 19th round, I'm going, okay, I'll take that table setter for my lineup. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm probably starting him. I'm starting Adam Frazier. Wow. Luis Arise and Jeff McNeil. The thing about Jeff McNeil is I don't know if he's going to be a Met when the season starts, because they're talking that he's available and they might trade him, because where is he playing right now? If the season started today or tomorrow, where is he playing? I don't know. I don't know if you're playing him over Cano. I don't know if you're playing him over, you're not playing him over Marcana.
I think the easiest way right this minute to get him into the lineup is if the DH comes. Robinson Cano is the DH and he's the second baseman. I think that's the easiest way to get him into the lineup. But I'm with you on the questionable playing time there. So,
I mean, Fangraphs doesn't have McNeil in the starting lineup. Mm-hmm. So, but they don't account for the DH. So that's a good point. But I don't know. I think if there's a DH, you also got JD Davis, you also got Dom Smith, So,
and where does McNeil fit in? Like, he's going to hit 8th or 9th, right, in this lineup.
I mean, probably. Right now, according to Fangraphs, it's against right-handers. It's Nimmo, Starlin Marte, Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Robinson Cano, Mark Hanna, Eduardo Escobar, and James McCann. I don't know where you're putting. Is he batting 9th? I'm probably cutting McNeil. It hurts me to say that, but I just unless he changes teams, I don't know where he gets the playing time.
You were supposed to talk me into it, Jason.
Sorry.
Damn. I gotta be the guy to talk you into McNeil?
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
Man.
And Arise is hitting leadoff.
Yeah, he is. In front of not. Yeah. McNeil used to have third base eligibility. He used to be. Wow. Did he really fall this far? That's terrible. All right. I'm with you guys, but I'm starting Arise over Frazier, because Frazier, what you're getting, they're basically the same guy, right? They're a high average, low power guy. I'm going to believe in the proven offense of the Minnesota Twins behind him, of Buxton and Polanco and Donaldson and Kepler, over a Jared Kelenic bounce back, whether Mitch Haniger's real, whenever Julio Rodriguez shows up, Ty France. You believe in Ty France, go ahead and start Adam Frazier. We prove it and we'll believe it. Let's talk about the guys that are the steals or guys you'll buy in at their draft price. And I'm with you on Gavin Lux, Mike Haber, at least as long as I were to be told that he was getting full-time playing time. And the same is true of Jeff McNeil about what we just talked about. If McNeil gets traded somewhere, I think he might be able to jump over both of those guys.
Yeah.
So I like that draft price as well. Anybody stand out to you guys?
Jason, you want to take this first?
Sure, yeah. I'll highlight Josh Rojas here, the Diamondbacks, going what would be basically our the middle of the 14th round for the Bigs. He's got multiple eligibility. He's hitting leadoff for the Diamondbacks. I know they're not good, but they're going to score some runs. So, and he looked good this year. In the middle of the 14th round, I might consider him.
I guess if you go with Ketel Marte early, you could make the argument that you get this guy later, and you've got the top of the Diamondbacks offense, and arguably like two of their three best hitters. I mean,
I'll also add real quick. Going right above him is Kike Hernandez. He can lead off for the Red Sox.
I would take that.
I would take that. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Haber?
I'm going to go a few spots down, and I'm going to highlight another Seattle Mariner, Abraham Toro, who showed some promise last year. I don't know if in our league he is second base eligible, but on this NFBC website, he's the second baseman, going at 268th, and
they actually have higher standards than Yahoo does. So if he's got it here, he definitely has it on Yahoo. That's okay. That's end of the 17th round.
Yeah,
that's pretty nice.
I like that upside a lot.
I'm gonna go even further. Like, I'm gonna go really deep. Let's say the DH comes in the NL, and you're gonna give me Robinson Cano at 530. Look, I know that it may be a complete disaster, but if it's my last pick, the upside of a batting champion with 25 homer upside, I don't think he's going to be a batting champion again, but a 280 guy with 20 homers and like 65 RBIs, I'll take that.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. Let's move to third base, gentlemen. And then at third, it's only going to be two here. I'm not huge. They're pretty evenly spaced, honestly. And there's only one spot here that I think is interesting. Up top, Adalberto Mondesi at 53 or Austin Riley at 54. Jason Ashby, let's start with you.
Yeah, that is a good one. Obviously, Mondesi has the steals upside, but he basically missed the entire year. Austin Riley is...
This is the fourth round. This is early
in the fourth round. Yeah. If I'm taking one of these two in the fourth round, it's going to be Riley.
Mike Haber?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's not even a question for me. Austin Riley.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you guys. And Adalberto Mondesi is much lower for us. I get the upside, but not this early. Let's go down about 100 picks here. Brian Hayes at 145 or Yoan Moncada at 146.
I was just looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Jason, what'd you see?
I see upside down. Like, I would take Moncada over Hayes. Like, Brian Hayes hasn't really shown me anything, and he's on a shitty Pirates team. Moncada has at least shown that he can hit, and he plays for. He's one of the best lineups in baseball. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I take Moncada over Hayes. Absolutely.
Mike Haber?
Yeah, agreement, 100%.
Wow. No love for Brian Hayes. Interesting. All right. Well, that was easy. The only thing I liked as like an outlier, Matt Chapman at 188. I'll take that. I'll take that all day. 188 is 12th round. That feels pretty good on a guy who went, I think, in the top 5 rounds last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any of you guys see any outliers?
Well, I mean, Kyle Seeger, who's no longer playing baseball, so
right.
There's that.
He has retired, so all of those guys just lost somebody.
I like Kevin Biggio for a nice bounce back this year.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like Alec Baum at 282. I do like that. If I'm gonna take a Philly, I'll take the young one that like maybe does well. Any love for patio knowledge down at 320? No. All right.
No, I probably still take the way it is like Arias going above him. I take Arias over him. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know who Josh Jung is, but
top prospect for Texas. He might.
Yeah. Okay.
Like he might be one of the things that pushes Nick Solak out of Texas at this point. Like, it's that dude at third, Semien and Seeger. Like, now Solak's pushed to the outfield where it's Adolis Garcia and I don't know what exactly.
Didn't they just get another guy, Colt Calhoun?
Oh, yeah. Mike Haber's favorite player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's move on to shortstop. I have a very important question here. Trey Turner or Fernando Tatis Jr. are both going literally at 1. This is an important discussion because Jason had Fernando Tatis not very high in his shortstop ranking. Mike Haber, which one of these two are you going with?
I think, gun to my head, I'm picking Fernando Tatis.
Why?
I think that this is, besides Acuna, this is a guy that, and maybe Shohei, but a guy that has the clearest path to like a 30-30 or a 40-40 season. If everything clicks and he can stay healthy and he can stay on the field, but I think that I want to take that chance with the first or second overall pick of the draft. Trey Turner is hands down a superstar, hands down a top 10 player, but does he have consistent power? No, not really. And for my first pick of the draft, my first overall pick at a position, shortstop, I need someone that I can count on for everything. Power, speed, on base, all the above.
Jason, I know you see this the other way.
I do. And the thing is, note that I probably wouldn't be taking, I certainly wouldn't be taking Trey Turner. If I had the first overall pick, I wouldn't be taking Trey Turner or Tatis. I'd probably be taking a guy more like, a Juan Soto or an Acuna, somebody who has that power speed combo. But I don't think that Trey Turner, like, how many home runs did he hit last year?
28.
Career high, I think.
Yes.
28, right?
Yeah.
So, like, his power isn't nothing. It's not like he's hit 7, so, and he steals, a million bases. So
he had never hit 20 in a season before, though.
That's what I'm saying.
And he hit 28 this year. Now, I'm not. I believe that an uptick in power makes sense right now. But do I think he's going to hit 28 this year? No.
But like, I don't.
If he hits 22, are you disappointed?
No, that's the thing is that I don't need him to. Like, I can get my power elsewhere. I can get my power from first base or third base or left field. But I'm perfectly happy with Trey Turner and him not striking out 100 million times like Fernando Tatis does, so, and he's playing for the Dodgers, who, again, like we keep going back to the lineup, and I'm not, not knocking on the Padres, but they were down last year, and it's pretty much the same group of guys. Like, so I like Trey Turner better.
Here's my last argument for it. And I'm just throwing it out there. Last year, Tatis had 478 at bats. Turner had over 100 more than that, almost 600 at bats. Tatis had 42 home runs and 25 steals. And Trey Turner had 28 home runs and 32 steals. I could see this being a 40-40 player. And for me, I can't possibly ignore that potential. Especially
he also struck out 153 times, and Trey Turner struck out 110 in 100 more at bats.
Yeah,
like I like Jason's argument there, and I do think that a step back in power is coming for Trey Turner, though, and I'm with Mike on the upside of Fernando Tatis is 40-40, and it's probably like a foregone conclusion if he ever puts together a 150 game season, he would pull that off. Mm-hmm. The only fear I have with him is the fact that he didn't get his surgery on his shoulder, and that's going to be something that could play a factor into playing time.
Yeah, and 21 errors. Trey Turner had 11.
The errors kill me. Kill me.
Yeah,
but I'm gonna. But if I'm going to point one finger and go, look, if there's one guy that can lead the league in errors and potentially lead it in strikeouts, and I'll still take him, it's this dude, because this is video game man. Like, this is ridiculous what we're seeing.
And look, and I'll give you, he's got the outfield eligibility now, so that
and that's the great part about this argument is that Trey Turner has second base eligibility, and Tatis has outfield eligibility, so it's not it's a preference thing. I would probably lean with the outfield eligibility though, especially if he's got right and center. I don't know that he does, but it would be pretty awesome if we saw it happen. Oh, he does. Oh, he will in Yahoo. He'll have short, right, and center.
Yeah.
That's gonna split that hair. That wins. All right, let's go down a little bit further and talk about a guy that is near and dear to mine and Jason's heart. It's Francisco Lindor. He is going at 49, and Wander Franco is right behind him at 53. Mike Haver, which one are you taking?
Shit. I think I'm going with Franco. I really do. I don't believe in Lindor on the Mets. I just don't. And I'm sorry to say that out loud. and bash now McNeil and Lindor in back to back.
I mean, I guess I've bashed LeMahieu enough times, right?
Yeah, exactly. Payback. Is Lindor the same player that he was in Cleveland? I haven't seen it yet once in New York. And until I could see that consistently, I'm not going to draft him in the third round, the second round. I'm not going to draft him that high. I'm not going to waste a pick.
Yeah, he's going the beginning of the fourth round.
But to that same argument, you haven't seen Wander Franco play consistently at all. Like, a half a season. That's
70
it.
games.
Whereas Lindor, what he's capable of. He's not what he was last year. You've seen it consistently.
I feel like that's a good argument usually, but for what Wander Franco did in those 70 games is miraculous. And I think that, like, if anyone can replicate it, it is this man that just signed a 12-year, $88 trillion contract.
I'm still giving Lindor the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if I would really take either of them where they're going at the moment, but I would take Lindor over Franco.
It's interesting. It's at the 3-4 turn, right? So it's back end of the third round, early fourth round. And
I mean,
I'm sorry. This is Wander Franco with a bullet. Get out of here. Are you kidding me? Look, I like the argument that Francisco Lindor is due a bounce back. And I just want to point out that Carlos Beltran, excuse me. Carlos Beltran signed jersey for me. Yeah, awesome. That guy's first year in Queens was not very good. No. He hit 266 with 16 homers, 78 RBIs, and 17 steals coming off of a season where between Kansas City and Houston, he hit 38 home runs, drove in 104 RBIs, and hit 265. Like, he was really good. And then came to Queens and had a really shit year. And then in 2006, he hit 41 home runs and drove on 116 RBIs. What if it's just like 1 year where Lindor had some shit going on?
I mean, an entire year?
An entire year. Beltran played 150 games.
Yeah.
It was an entire year.
And look, I don't think this is nothing either. Buck Showalter is now the manager of the Mets, not Luis Rojas. Like I think there's something to that, where a guy who he's been around, he knows how to handle a guy like Manny Machado. If you can handle Manny Machado, you can figure out Francisco Lindor. Like, I think that's not nothing.
I still go Wander Franco though, because
this
is Juan Soto. This is Juan Soto at shortstop. You can't tell
That's
me
how I
for
feel too. And
you can't tell me for 1 second that you would draft Juan Soto behind Francisco Lindor.
No, but
That's
seen,
what I'm buying.
Juan Soto.
I buy this 70 games because we bought Bo Bichette and we bought Fernando Tatis. I'm buying this kid too. I learned my lesson from those two. Let's move on a little bit further down, and this one's really interesting. I love this one. Jazz Chisholm at 75 or Corey Seager at 76. Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, put them in a hat and pick one out. I'm honestly I'm a little surprised that Seeger is going as low as he is. Like, I'm surprised that he's below like Javi Baez, and even like Tim Anderson really high for me. But yeah, I gotta go with the established guy. I gotta go with Corey Seager. I think the Rangers lineup is better than it was now with Simeon, and so I'm gonna give Seager the edge here, but I wouldn't complain if I was left with Chisholm.
Mike Haber?
Yeah, for me it's tough because depends what you need here, right? Like Corey Seager can give you that high average and he can give you the pop that you need and the RBIs and the homers, and Jazz Chisholm can get on base and steal and run a lot and make a lot of errors and strike out a lot, but I mean, I'm going to go with Corey Seager any day of the week over Jazz Chisholm, but like I could see myself being in a bind where I don't have anyone that steals bases on my team, and this guy is sitting here where he is.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever take him this early, but
yeah,
I do
Corey
think it's funny
Seager
that
is essentially a nothing in the stolen base department. Like he's just a nothing there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's it. That's just it. Right. So if you've gone the first 4 or 5 rounds, or whatever it was, and you don't have somebody if you don't have your Trey Turner, you don't have your Tatis, the guy who's going to steal the base, maybe you take Chisholm. But I think it's funny that
this
Chisholm
is the 5th round though. Like,
yeah,
this is the 5th round. I got Jazz Chisholm last year in like the 23rd or 24th round. That was amazing. Do I want to jump to the 5th?
I would.
Dude put up 18 homers and 23 steals in 124 games. Like, he's probably a safe 2020 bet. You're not going to get that from Corey Seager, but you're also not going to get anywhere near the strikeouts. I don't know. What is the ceiling that Jazz Chisholm could be? Could we see him 30-30 with a 260 batting average?
I don't know. 30-30 is pushing it.
Is it? Yeah. 18 and 23 in basically 2/3 of a season.
Yeah. I mean, that's a high ceiling. Yes.
Does Corey Seager, in his highest of high ceilings, eclipse that by hitting, say, 300 with what's his power upside?
What did he do in 2019?
19 home runs.
Yeah. His career high is 26.
Back in 2016. That's 5 full seasons ago. He hasn't exactly been the pinnacle of health.
No, he has not.
If I'm going to take a risk, I'd probably go also the guy who has second base eligibility and go Jazz.
Jazz also wasn't the pinnacle of health last year either.
No, he wasn't. So you're looking to take a risk on 2 injured guys with shortstop eligibility. Here you go. Like, I don't know.
Round, yeah.
I'm not doing that in the 5th round.
Yeah.
I'd probably lean Jazz because of the speed upside that I'm not going to get from Corey Seager. The next one is much further down, and this is another great matchup that I enjoy. It's Gleyber Torres at 159 and Brendan Rodgers also known as Playboy Buddy Rogers to our friend Ben Nisman. Happy birthday, Ben. At 160. Jason, you're in Colorado. Mike Haber's a Yankee fan. That's why I put this one together, because I couldn't resist
Very
on
nice.
this. So
Yeah.
let's see if you guys have it the way that I thought you would. Mike, let's start with you. Is it Gleyber or is it Brendan Buddy Rogers?
I think I go Gleyber. Just betting on a bounce back. He showed what he could do at full strength and full health. I know it was a couple of years back now at this point, and he's done nothing but disappoint since then. Mm-hmm. What was it? 2018 was his.
2019 was his breakout. 38 home runs and 90 RBI.
Yeah.
But like 13 of those home runs were only off of the Orioles.
Yeah.
And like, cool, you beat up on the Orioles. You have to play who's on your schedule. I get it.
Yeah.
It was also the juiced ball year, and he is really, really disappointed since this is. There was a point where I was really buying in on him in the second half of last year, and he got a little bit better, but he's hit 12 home runs in the last 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this before in the group text, but if Gleyber Torres puts together another year like he did the past 2 years, then I'm out on this guy. Like, as a Yankee fan, as a fantasy manager, I'm done with this guy. He, for me personally, he has 1 year left to prove that he's capable of 2019.
So he's in the seat that Gary Sanchez was going into 2021. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. For what it's worth, Jason, where are you sitting with Brendan Rodgers and Gleyber Torres?
Yeah, this is really tough because it doesn't seem like Brendan Rodgers runs. At least he didn't last year at all. So that's certainly a thing. But at the same time, granted it was Torres played shortstop last year, but he committed 18 errors. Like, that's not good. And I don't know, is he gonna be much better at second base? I don't know.
Yeah.
He was better at second base?
He made fewer errors at second.
He was passable defensively. He was as good as Jeter defensively. Got it.
You know what? I probably, and this might surprise you, I might give Torres the edge because of the Yankees lineup and that power speed potential, but I could see this being a complete bombshell and totally blowing up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Gleyber Torres is set to hit 6th according to Roster Resource, in front of Aaron Hicks, Gary Sanchez, and Gio Urshela as the bottom 3 of the order. I mean, there's a lot of strikeouts in that lineup. I've been saying it for years. There's a lot of strikeouts in that lineup. But I think I have to go with Gleyber because I think the upside isn't quite what 2019 was, but I also think it could be a lot better in the steals department.
Mm-hmm.
And if he were competent as a hitter, it would be interesting to see if they were to move him, say, into the 4 or the 5. Maybe even the 3 and push Stanton down, but you're running into a whole lot of righties as well. It's a muddy situation. It's a muddy situation there. But I don't know that Brendan Rodgers is real. I really don't.
Right. We haven't seen enough of him to know.
So is Gleyber Torres due for a bounce back, or is Brendan Rodgers for real? Is the real questions here.
Yeah.
And we're talking about literally the 10-11 turn.
I
don't think I go with either of these guys. But
I don't think so either. Yeah.
But I think I'd lead Gleyber as well for the speed upside. Let's take a look at some steals here, and I love Willy Adames at 140.
Yeah.
What about you, Jason? You see anything?
Yeah. How about JP Crawford is way down there at 304? he's a table setter for that Mariners lineup. I guess I'm buying into that Mariners lineup because I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be good. I would take him as a table setter. Yeah.
My only fear with that would be, what if they go out and sign Trevor Story?
Sure.
Like, we've seen them go out and spend money before, so it's not out of the realm of possibilities they're still in on some big name. They did just sign Robbie Ray.
Right. No, I mean, right. If that happens, then sure, then that changes. But as of today, I'm also curious what you think about Bobby Witt going like before Willie Adames, before Dansby Swanson, before Chris Taylor. Like,
yeah, that's an interesting one, right? He's going 94.
Are we in on Bobby Witt?
I don't know. Are we in on Bobby Witt?
Let's ask Frank. I don't know.
I mean, Frank was in on him last year and really, really wanted this guy to do something because held on to him. Do I believe in him more than Jake Cronenworth, who's going apparently 26 picks later? It's basically him and Carlos Correa, and I almost went with that as a duo here, but like I just sort of went, wait a minute, like we don't know what Bobby Witt is, and I don't know how you guys feel about this guy. He had an unbelievable minor league season. He went 30-30 in the minors, which probably should never happen. Like, if you're going 30-30 in the minors, you should probably be playing professional, like Major League Baseball at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? But,
yeah.
Do I take him over Carlos Correa? No.
No.
I don't take him over Willie Adames. I don't take him over Dansby Swanson, Jake Cronenworth. But after that, it's Gleyber Torres and Brendan Rodgers.
Yeah.
And I feel like that would be better.
That's
the spot. Mike, did you see anything outlying?
I kind of like Irish Kaleidoscope friends down at 277.
Where's his playing time?
Yeah.
I mean,
we just talked about Seeger and Semien and Josh Jung and Nathaniel Lowe. And
it's a great question, but I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't end up on Texas to start the season.
Yeah. I guess they could put him behind the plate again. Maybe.
They could.
Fangraphs has him batting ninth, playing at third base.
Okay. All right. Hey, he was pretty good for Uncle Barry for a while there. He stole a good number of bases as well.
Yeah.
I like Miguel Rojas a little bit lower than all of that at 353. That's pretty awesome. That's 23rd round.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the outfield. I've got a bunch here. Let's start at the top. Bryce Harper at 11, Ronald Acuna at 12, Kyle Tucker at 12. Mike Haber, let's start with you, because I know how you love yourself some Kyle Tucker.
Are we playing start, bench, cut?
Sure.
Okay.
I mean, this is the first round, so like
So
you're picking back end of the first round. Which one of these guys are you going with?
I'm gonna go with Harper if all these guys are still available.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason is because we don't know about Acuna's health. I do love me some Kyle Tucker, but if we're gonna rank these three players, Kyle Tucker's always gonna be last. And normally it would be Acuna, Harper, and Tucker, but I think this year, realistically, I would draft Harper before Acuna just because of that ACL that's no joke.
But you would still take Acuna, even given that knee, in front of Tucker.
In the first round, yes.
Yeah, at 12. Like, we're talking back end of the first round of the bigs. Are you going to take a guy that will cost you a month right off the top? Or are you going to take Kyle Tucker?
I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick to my answer. I'm going to say Harper, Acuna, Tucker. Because
Jason,
I think Acuna...
Man, why? How are you you're going to sacrifice a month of your first round pick over taking a guy who at the end of the season could probably be a hell of a lot better?
I could still see Acuna going 30-30 even if he misses a month.
Okay, so that's the upside on 5 months of Acuna is 30-30. That's 6 a month for what it's worth. That's 2 every week.
Okay.
Just so you know, like that's a bit. Jason, where are you on this, man? Like,
you know what? It's funny. As he was talking, I was in lockstep with Mike Haber, but you kind of sold me. And I'm going back to George Springer last year. And granted, his injury happened much later in the offseason than Acuna's, but I can just see Acuna having a setback, and that 1 month turns into 2 months, and then you're like, "Fuck! I just wasted my first round pick," and he's still sitting there on the. Whereas at least I know that Kyle Tucker, as of right now, come April or whenever the season is going to start, Tucker's going to be in that lineup, and like, God willing, he's there the whole season. I'm probably moving Tucker right above Acuna, but still Harper above all of them.
I'm going to go with Kyle Tucker at number 1. And 30 home runs, 92 RBIs, 14 steals at 24 years old. Not a whole lot of strikeouts to at-bats. A good on-base percentage and a .295 batting average. Bryce Harper, last year, 35 homers, 84 RBIs. 100 walks is huge. I just don't believe that a 300 average is what we're going to see year after year from him. I think at the end of the day, the numbers are going to be very similar between these two guys. And I like Houston more. I like the opportunities he's going to have. So I'll take Tucker over Harper and then Acuna at 3 because I can't sacrifice a month of my number 1 overall pick. I did that with Mike Trout. I sacrificed 5 months. And by the way, still finished 3rd because fuck y'all. Let's move a little bit further down and we'll talk about a pair. And this is an interesting conversation. Starling Marte at 27 or Cedric Mullins at 28.
Oh.
Yeah. That's where Cedric Mullins is going. 28, which is, as we know, back end of the 2nd round. And you're looking for a speed guy.
Yeah, I think he will go around there in the bigs. I really do.
That's a perfect number. Like, I could totally see somebody grabbing him middle of the 2nd round.
But I'm probably taking Marte. I mean, he may not have the same amount of steals as Mullins, but he does. I mean, and he's got the power, and he's got the better lineup. I'm going Marte.
So Cedric Mullins hit more home runs than Starling Marte last year by, I think, a considerable margin.
Yes.
12 home runs for Starling Marte. Okay. Where, and don't get me wrong, like it's
Mullins
not.
At 30.
Yeah, Mullins at 30. And don't get me wrong, like I agree that Marte probably has some pretty significant power and was hitting in Miami, which is a pitcher's park, and then Oakland, which was a pitcher's park. He's coming to the Mets, which, by the way, also a pitcher's park. So it's not the greatest. I don't think I would be taking either of these guys if I'm brutally honest. But I think I would go Cedric Mullins here.
I lose the fact that he was a 30-30 guy. I like when I think Cedric Mullins, I think of the steals. I don't think of the power that really came out of absolute nowhere.
And a 291 batting average last year.
Yeah.
Mike Haber?
Yeah, I'm going Cedric Mullins here.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about the issues in Queens, and hopefully it doesn't happen for Marte in his first year, but it could, and the power may not return. It could, if he hits 10 home runs or 15 home runs and steals 40 bases, sure, that's awesome. But I do like this potential of 30-30, especially. I would love to have Mullins on my team so that I don't have to play against him.
That's a good point. Is that your new Will Myers?
He's up there. He's up there. Yep.
All right, let's jump a little bit further down here. George Springer at 56, Randy Arozarena at 57. Jason, you're shaking your head, and you owned George Springer last year.
I knew that's exactly where you were going.
I know. You know. Middle of the
Yep.
4th round. Are you going with one of these two guys? And if so, which one?
If I remember correctly, isn't that where I took Springer last year? Was in the 4th round. I
That
think
feels about right.
I think
Probably.
it was. Look, if he's healthy, I'm going Springer. I know I was burned last year, but I went in knowing that he was hurt and he was only supposed to be out a month, and that spiraled. But if he's healthy going into 2022, I'm taking Springer all day.
Mike Haber, you know both of these guys pretty well at this point.
Yeah.
Having
Springer
faced
all
them.
day. Springer
Really?
all day. Springer all day.
Wow.
Yep.
Not even a thought.
Not even a thought. Leadoff hitter on the Blue Jays, playing a full season there. He could hit 40 bombs. I could see it.
Yeah, I don't see that upside with Arozarena.
Yeah.
The only thing Arozarena brings to the table over Springer is speed, because Springer is basically a single-digit contributor in that department, where Randy just went 20-20.
Yeah.
So I do like that as like a kind of benchmark for him over the next couple of years. Like, we'll see if next year he goes 18-25 or pushes 30-30. Who knows? But yeah, I think I'm with you with George Springer. I think I'll, especially in the lineup. Yeah,
170 strikeouts for Arozarena.
That's too many. That's too many.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
Next one on the list. All right, here's a 4 set. All right. Ready? Here we go. Giancarlo Stanton at 97. Brian Reynolds at 99. Cody Bellinger at 101. Christian Yelich at 104. Interesting group of guys, huh?
With Dalton Varsho kind of in the middle there, but
We're talking the middle of the 7th round. Anybody want to jump on this first?
Yeah, I can start with this one.
Go for it.
I'm gonna go Reynolds 1 because
I knew he was gonna say this.
I mean, otherwise, what's the point of doing that left field show, right? If I don't stick to my guns.
It's a good point.
I'm gonna go Reynolds 1, Stanton 2, Yelich 3, Bellinger 4.
Interesting. Jason, how are you
Say
going?
yours again, Mike.
Reynolds, Stanton, Yelich, Bellinger.
Okay. Yeah, this is tough. I really want to believe that Christian Yelich is going to have a bounce back. I really do. But I'm probably going to go Stanton first.
Damn.
Yeah. Then Reynolds, then Yelich, then Bellinger.
Joe completely disagrees with both of us.
My mind just got blown. Because when the season was ending, we were all talking about, if I get Cody Bellinger in the 5th round, I will be on top of the world. We all said that. He's going mid-7th. Give me Bellinger and Yelich 1, 2. I don't care in what order. Then I guess give me Brian Reynolds, because it's not Giancarlo Stanton, who annoys the hell out of me every single year. So, yeah, give me the younger guy. I'll take Bellinger over Yelich just based off of age. And then give me Reynolds and Stanton. Because if I'm going to the 7th round, again, it's risk versus reward. And this is where you could take a risk and say, you know what? Maybe Cody Bellinger does have the 40 homer upside. Come back to him. I'll take that risk in the 7th round.
Okay.
A little bit further down, we have a couple of rookies last year right next to each other. Dylan Carlson, 157. Adalis Garcia, 159. Jason, where do you see these two?
I gotta look at the numbers, but I Yeah, I think I'm going Carlson first. He did 152 strikeouts, which is a little more than you would like, but the Cardinals lineup is better. I'm going to go Carlson here.
Adolis Garcia, 194 strikeouts, 31 home runs, 90 RBIs, 243 batting average with a 286 on base percentage because he only walked 32 times. Carlson, 266 batting average, 343 on base percentage, 57 walks, 152 strikeouts, 18 homers, 65 RBIs.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna give the edge to Carlson here. I think the upside's higher there. I think he has a better season. So yeah, I'm gonna go Carlson here.
Mike?
I think I'm gonna go Carlson also. I think it's more indicative of the kind of player he is. I think those are his true numbers. I think Garcia's numbers are ridiculously inflated because of his wild first half that he had last year, and I don't see him coming anywhere close to that. So I'm gonna go Carlson.
So if you're not believing that Adolis Garcia is 31-90, do you believe he's better than 18-65?
He could be as far as the power numbers go, but I think with the strikeouts and the average and on base, I think he's lower than what he.
Are the 16 steals Adolis Garcia gave real?
Those could be. I mean, there's
So
no reason why he can't steal again.
Yeah, because Carlson does not have that in his game. I think I'm with you guys. I like where Carlson hits in the lineup, right behind Arenado, O'Neill, and Goldschmidt. I'll take that all day. Right. Whereas Adolis Garcia in Texas, I don't know. Maybe he's hitting. Yeah, he's hitting exactly where I thought he would, behind Semien and Seeger.
Yeah, but then behind him is Nathaniel Lowe, Cole Calhoun.
I still believe in that kid. Like, I still believe there's something there. What if he's just like James Loney, who hits like 300 and has 16 home runs? Is that terrible? He's John Olerud. You know?
He had 264 last year. That's not 300.
That's true.
But would you be shocked if Adolis Garcia was sent back to the minors?
I guess not. He does have one option left. I guess not. Yeah. All right. Let's jump just a little bit further up. Here's a really interesting one. We talked about this guy a lot. We've talked about this guy having a bounce back season a lot. Jared Kelenic at 134 or Austin Meadows at 132? Mike Haber, let's start with you.
Meadows, 100%.
Really?
I'm not ready to buy in on Kelenic just yet.
Okay.
I need to see something.
Like, I get it. Jason.
Yeah.
Do you believe in Kelenic?
I'm probably not as decisive as Mike is about it, but I probably still give Meadows the edge because I think I need to see Kelenic in a full season and what he can actually do. We've seen it from Meadows, so I do give Meadows the edge, but it's not as concrete as Mike does.
I'm definitely with you guys that, like, if I'm taking this gamble in the 9th round, I don't think Kelenic's upside is Austin Meadows with 100 RBIs or 25 plus home runs. Right? I don't think that's his upside. Now, I'll believe that he probably steals a few more bases. Maybe he has better runs scored, but ultimately, this is the middle of the Tampa Bay Rays lineup that we're talking about with Austin Meadows, and now he's gonna be able to play DH without Nelson Cruz there. I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
Joe, I have a detour question for you, real quick.
Yes.
Over under Jason's team next year for Seattle Mariners.
If the number was 3.5, it would be really tempting. But because of that, I'll take the under.
Okay.
I'll take the under.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool.
We'll see.
Now he just needs to draft like 4 straight and go ha. So let's take a look at where Kelenic is falling. He's at 134. Kelenic, Mike, let's see how far down you'll go with this. Him or Akil Baddoo?
Who?
Jared Kelenic or Akil Baddoo?
Okay, so I was just looking at Baddoo. Why is he going so high? Holy, I was
Mike's answer here should be because he's good and back it up.
He's going ahead of guys like Michael Conforto, Adam Duvall, Ramon Laureano, Kike Hernandez. Like, I don't believe in Badu, but Mike, tell me why I should believe in Badu.
He had 400 at bats last year and hit 13 homers and 18 RBIs. This is Jazz Chisholm in the outfield. I mean, how different are their numbers, really?
Yeah, I could see that. And so he's over Kalenic.
For me, yeah.
Hunter Renfroe or Jared Kalenic?
Probably Kalenic.
I still take Renfroe.
Renfroe in Milwaukee? Yeah. Somebody else who signed. Andrew Benintendi or Jared Kalenic?
Neither.
Okay. AJ Pollock or Jared Kalenic?
I say Pollock.
Wow.
Harrison Bader or Jared Kalenic?
Masturbator. I'm going to go with Kalenic.
Okay. So you would have him somewhere around 240 rather than 134. Got it. Final one here, guys. We're actually going to be right near that one here. Charlie Blackmon at 249, Michael Brantley at 253, Marcell Ozuna at 256, and Mark Canha at 256. This is a big one.
Yeah.
It's the 15-16 turn. It's deep. Blackmon, Brantley, Ozuna, Canha. I think I have to put Ozuna at 1 and Brantley at 2, Canha at 3, Blackmon at 4.
Go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, from strictly speaking from a fantasy baseball perspective, I think I would agree. Definitely Brantley 1 and definitely Blackmon last.
I think Joe said Ozuna.
Ozuna's at 1. Yeah, Ozuna's at 1. I think that's the highest upside here.
Yeah.
I really do. And when you're talking this deep in the draft,
Yes.
at the 15-16 turn,
like Ozuna, Brantley, Canha, and Blackmon for me.
Yeah. Now, here's my question. Would you actually draft Marcell Ozuna at the 15-16 turn?
I probably wouldn't draft him at all.
Mike?
It's going to take a lot for me to have. If he's sitting there in round 24.
Okay. All right. So ideally, it's Brantley, Blackmon, Canha, or Canha, Blackmon. Okay.
But I mean, I do agree with you guys from a fantasy baseball perspective. Ozuna has to be 1.
Right. Yeah. Right. All right. A couple of deep dives here. By the way, Brandon Nimmo at 295. That could be a real steal.
Hell yeah.
That is deep. That's 19th round. Garrett Cooper at 498. That's undrafted. And if he gets full-time playing time in Miami, I really like that. You guys see anything?
Jason?
Yeah, I'm look, Lane Thomas, who's going right after the guys we just talked about. I think he could have a big year for Washington, hitting on top of the order. I honestly, I might even take him above the guy we just talked about.
Mark Canha?
Yeah. I'd probably take him over Brantley. It's interesting. This guy Suzuki, the guy that's come over from Japan.
Yeah.
He's going, ahead of all these guys, and he doesn't have a team. Like
early 16th round there. So that's the interesting.
So that's probably where I would think about taking him at that point. Like, if I knew what team he was on.
Mike, Will Myers going 279 overall. Would you grab him there? That's
what round is that?
That's
18th round?
Yeah.
Does he still have all that eligibility? Because I'll take him there.
I don't know what he did this past year. His numbers weren't all that great.
No.
17 homers, 63 RBIs, a lot of strikeouts, only 8
He will have
steals.
right field and left field eligibility.
All right. Dual outfield in the corners. No?
I'm actually going to point out a guy we haven't talked about much, but Rafael Ortega.
He's going to hit atop that Cubs lineup that you seem to be buying in on with Frank Schwindel and Ian Happ. Are you in on that guy?
No thanks.
No? Okay. Are you in on, I don't know, who else is there? It's Ortega, Schwindel, Contreras, Happ, Wisdom, Horner, Hayward, Madrigal. How many of those guys are you in on?
I think Madrigal moves up throughout the year. He's a guy I could see, moving up to that second spot.
Yeah, and I could see Schwindel as like a cleanup type hitter.
And one would imagine that Wilson Contreras is going to DH a lot, which will get Yan Gomes into the lineup a little bit. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to starting pitching. Starting pitching is going to be a lot of fun. I love this one. Guys, off air and in the text message, we were talking about how they come to these numbers, and it's kind of surprising when you see that Jacob deGrom is the 8th guy off the board. And that got me thinking, well, he's paired basically with Zack Wheeler at 22 and 23. This is early second round.
Mm-hmm.
If you get Jacob deGrom in the early second and pair him with, say, Ronald Acuna in the first round like Mike Haber would you do that? Would you do that? Would you do Acuna in the first, like, say, 13th or 14th, and get deGrom at 22?
I do that in a heartbeat, but it's not going to be the case. I don't believe deGrom is going to be there.
It's interesting. Because we don't know about the elbow.
It's funny that you paired him with Acuna, because it's really the same scenario. We don't know the status of their injury.
Yeah,
so are they going to be ready for opening day?
You know what the ceiling is on this.
Right.
What's the ceiling on Zack Wheeler, or did we already see it?
I feel like we had to have seen it.
I mean,
but
213 innings, 247 strikeouts, a 2.78 ERA. It's pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, and he had that rough, like, I think it was August. It was like a 4 or 5 start stretch where he got knocked around and still put up those numbers.
So you're going to get 200 innings, 230 strikeouts, a good ERA, and maybe a decent record if the Phillies have a good season. Or you take the risk on Jacob deGrom.
If you're asking me,
I am asking you.
I'm still taking the risk on deGrom. It's just it's too enticing to not have that guy on my team. Call it bias, but I can't not have deGrom on my team.
Mike Haber?
If he's available.
If deGrom or Wheeler are available, who you take?
I mean, obviously, we have to say the disclaimer that this conversation will be different 3 months from now.
Of course.
But as of right now, yes, deGrom needs to be the number one pitcher. I think he's in a league of his own as far as the starting pitchers go.
If you could promise me that I was going to get 160 innings out of Jacob deGrom, there is no question.
Yeah.
I just don't know whether or not that's going to be a thing.
Right.
And I sure wouldn't want to be in the position of the back end of the first round in the 14, 15, 16 range and pass on deGrom the first time and see him come back again.
Yeah. Because
if he's there early second, I don't know that I could pass on him.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, also, is Garrett Cole according to this, he's the first pitcher off the board?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes. Well, yes, because Ohtani is both pitcher and utility eligible.
Right.
That's
enormous.
But yes, Garrett Cole at 9 and Corbin Burns at almost 10. You are turning your nose up at Corbin Burns.
No, Garrett Cole. I'm turning my nose.
Cole. I was like, you're turning your nose up at what?
No.
All right, let's go a little bit further down here. Let's talk about three guys. Interesting seasons they all had this past year. Lucas Giolito at 39, Sandy Alcantara at 39, Aaron Nola at 41. Where do you guys see these three guys matching up?
Oh,
Yeah, dive into the numbers a little bit, but
yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of out on Aaron Nola a little bit. Like, as far as these three go, he's probably my cut. Sandy Alcantara is so good. I mean, the win-loss record doesn't show it because the Marlins suck, but
right. But that's the interesting thing, right? He went
Yeah.
9-15, a 3.19, 200 strikeouts and 200 innings. Aaron Nola, 9-9 record, 4.63 ERA, 180 innings, 223 strikeouts. Giolito, 11-9, 3.53, 200 strikeouts with 178 innings. It's an interesting trio because they all have really big upside.
Yeah. But I'm probably going in the order that they are right now. I think I'm going Giolito, Alcantara, and then Nola.
Mike Haber, how do you feel about that?
It's tough. Yeah, I'm torn between Alcantara and Giolito. I think I'm going to cut Nola also. See, Giolito has shown us so many different sides, like in the past, 4 years? He's a Cy Young winner. He was garbage. And last year he was something in between. So I just don't know which Giolito is going to come out and play. And I think Alcantara, I trust his stuff more than anyone. I mean, is that bad to say? Like, we all had expectations of Cy Young for Giolito, and it
hasn't materialized.
Yeah.
Right? He's a 3.5 ERA pitcher. Good strikeout numbers. Double-digit wins because he's on a good team.
Yeah.
But I think that's exactly what he's going to be. He's a 3.5 ERA guy.
Yeah.
With good strikeout numbers and a decent record. That's great. It's a little boring. For me, I love Sandy Alcantara.
Yeah.
But I don't love the team he plays for. And that leaves Aaron Nola on the team he plays for. None of them are good. The highest upside, without question, is Alcantara.
Yes.
And if I'm drafting these guys, ideally in the third round is where these guys are going. Essentially, that's the ace of your staff.
Mm-hmm.
I would trust Alcantara number 1. I would trust Giolito number 2 and Aaron Nola number 3.
That's tough.
Yeah, it is. I got another trio that's pretty tough, and they're only like 15 picks later. Logan Webb at 55, Freddie Peralta at 56, Kevin Gossman at 56. All kinds of new stuff going on here. All three of these guys are going to be at their home: San Francisco, Milwaukee, Toronto. Pretty big season from Gossman. Freddie Peralta was really good.
Yeah, Freddie Peralta's numbers are absurd.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you believe in it? Kevin Gossman going back to the AL East? Or is Logan Webb the real deal? Jason, let's start with you.
All right. Yeah. I'm not ready to buy in on Logan Webb just yet. Not this early in the draft. I love me some Freddie Peralta, but Kevin Gossman on the Blue Jays. I know he's pitching in the AL East. Freddie Peralta's pitching in the NL Central with the Pirates and the Cubs and the Reds hanging around. The strikeout potential. Yeah, I probably would go Freddie Peralta first year, then Gossman, then Webb. It would be hard for me to take. I was so mad when I missed out on Peralta last year, and I don't want to do that again. So I would take Peralta top of these three.
Mike.
I think I go Gossman last. I don't like the switch to the AL East. I think he's going to regress big time this year. I'm torn. I think Logan Webb is the real deal. And I think pitching for San Francisco is in San Francisco for half of his games is going to be a big deal for Logan Webb too. Ah, man. I'm going to go Webb, Peralta, Gausman.
Jeez. This is a really tough one, but I think I go Freddie Peralta number one because of the strikeout rate. 144 innings to 195 strikeouts. That's sick. That's sick. So for the same reason that I love me Corbin Burns, I love this dude too. I think Logan Webb is number two, but I could make the argument that Gausman is the better pitcher of the two of them. I just worry, like Mike said, that returning to the AL East, where he was awful in Baltimore, I just don't know if that's a good move for him, especially Rogers Center and Fenway Park and Yankee Stadium and all of the lineups that he's going to have to face. Luckily, he doesn't have to face the Blue Jays lineup, so that's a thing. But no, I think I have to put him last. I think he's behind both of these guys. Let's jump a little bit further down and go to a pair of guys on winning teams that had a pretty nice 2021, but is it real? Alek Manoah at 84, Dylan Cease at 86. This is the 6th round. Are you going with either of these guys?
Not in the 6th round. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's a little early for either of these guys, but I do love Alek Manoah, and I'd be thrilled with him in like the 8th.
Mm-hmm. So you're going Cease over Manoah?
No, I'm going Manoah.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah, I think Cease for me would drop a little further than the 8th round.
Dylan Cease had 226 strikeouts. That's pretty good.
That's pretty damn good.
That's pretty damn good. And they both pitched for really good teams.
Right.
You know what? Dylan Cease is pitching in the AL Central. Maybe he gets the edge because of that. For what we just talked about, pitching against the Royals and the Guardians, and
who may I ask? Do you think has the higher upside of these two?
Probably Manoah.
Okay, but you like the situation that Cease is in more because the lineups that Manoah has to face at the AL East are rougher. I can respect that, and I think I'll agree with you there. I think I'll concede the fact that Manoah might be the higher upside play, and that in the long run he could be a Cy Young winner for all we know. But yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Let's go Cease above Manoah at the moment. All right, you guys know I can't go through talking about starting pitching without talking about a certain player. You guys know this was coming. Pablo Lopez at 121. Tyler Mahle. Oh, my connection just broke up, huh? Do you guys see me now? Pablo Lopez at 121. Justin Verlander at 119.
Whoa.
Tyler Mahle at 120. And Carlos Rodon at 124. The deepest one is in the middle of it's the 8th round, essentially. These 4 guys.
Can you say them again?
Yeah.
Pablo Lopez, Justin Verlander.
Oh, Verlander.
Tyler Mahle, Carlos Rodon.
I don't believe in Tyler Mahle all that much.
Okay.
I don't know who he is and what he's pitching in the Great American Ballpark. So for me, he's definitely at the bottom of those 4. I'd like to know where Carlos Rodon's going to pitch.
That is a good question.
But I think, look, Verlander is Verlander. He's coming off of Tommy John surgery, and he's pretty ancient for a pitcher age. Mm-hmm. I'm probably going Pablo Lopez, Rodon, Verlander, Mahle.
Interesting. Interesting. Pablo Lopez #1. I like that.
I think I knew you would, but I think he has the highest upside of this group. And if he's healthy, again, it kind of depends on where Rodon pitches, but I think I'd probably take Pablo Lopez over him anyway.
All right. Mike Haber, where do you stand on these guys?
We need to see what Verlander is after this surgery. We need to see him throw some innings. Because for me, he's a clear #1. I mean, this was a Cy Young winner 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, damn, it's tough. It's Verlander, Lopez 1-2 or 2-1 or flip flop them around, and then it's Rodon 3 and Molly 4.
I like that. I understand, yes, that Verlander would be #1 with a bullet if you could guarantee me 150 innings.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? And I think as soon as people see him in spring training, he's no longer going to be talked about in this group.
Yeah.
Instead, I would imagine him being talked about in the Gausman, Webb, Peralta trio. And that would make sense. Do you believe in Logan Webb, or do you want to see a bounce back from Verlander?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's #1. But #2, it's Pablo Lopez, without question. And Tyler, Molly, and Rodon, flip a coin. I don't want either of them realistically at this number. So I'll go ahead and pass on that and just take Pablo Lopez. Let's move on. Just 10 spots deeper, another 4 set here. Shane Baz at 135. Ian Anderson at 135. Framber Valdez at 136. And hey, Mike Haber, Chris Bassett at 137. That is middle of the ninth. I love me some Chris Bassett. Bassett, Valdez, Anderson, and Baz. A whole slew of guys here, but still young. In good situations all the way around, unless Bassett gets traded. But I personally would probably go Valdez first. I like Houston. Then probably Chris Bassett. And if he were to get traded to a contender, that would be even better. Then Anderson and Baz. But Anderson and Baz, I will concede, probably have the higher upside.
I think I'm in lockstep with you. Everything you just said, I agree 100%.
Mike?
I'd be torn between Bassett and Valdez, but I agree with everything else.
All right. Let's jump a little bit further down there. Logan Gilbert at 145, because we love the Seattle Mariners. And Zack Gallen at 147. And now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the draft. This is the 10th round. You're probably drafting these guys as your 3. Maybe your 2, but probably more like your 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So Logan Gilbert
and
Zack
Gallen was a disappointment last year, but I mean, I think I would honestly, if it were me, I'd feel better drafting Zack Gallen as my #3 than I would Logan Gilbert.
Yeah.
Regardless of last year's numbers.
I'm in agreement. I mean, Gilbert's pitching for the better team. He doesn't have to, but I mean, I feel like they both have kind of even divisions to contend with. But I'll go with the proven Gallen. Yeah.
I don't know that Zack Gallen is what one would call a proven talent. He's had one good year.
Well, more proven.
Yeah. I mean, he's thrown 273 innings in his entire career, 120 innings last year, and it wasn't very good. I get that he was really good in Miami, and he had the really good 2020 run. I think I'm willing to go with the better team here. I don't have to worry about that guy going to Colorado. I don't have to worry about that guy facing the Giants and the Dodgers and the Padres. I'll pass on those.
But Logan Gilbert wasn't good. Like,
But what tells you that Zack Gallen's going to be better?
I mean, at least he proved that he can sustain success for an entire season. Logan Gilbert hasn't shown
What
you.
entire season are you talking about? He has thrown 273 innings in his career, and 120 of them were last season. So what sustained success are you pointing to in Zack Gallen to say, this is the guy? He's got a losing record by a lot. He's 10-18.
Well, yeah, but he played for Miami and Arizona.
Okay, fine.
You know,
But I'm going back to what sustained success are you talking about? The 72 innings in 2020? That's what you're going to point to and be like, he is so much better than Logan Gilbert.
Well, let's look at 19 and 20 together. And his ERA is well below 3. For how many innings is that? If you combine 2019 and 2020.
If you combine 19 and 20, it is 152 innings. It's a 2.78 ERA with a 6-8 record and 178 strikeouts. If you were going to sit here, look me in the face, and tell me that an 80 pitch sample in 2019 across 2 teams and a 72 inning sample in 2020 for whatever 2020 was is sustained success, I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
But it's all relative, right? Because we're comparing him to Logan Gilbert, who was not good and didn't prove that he didn't prove anything.
Yes, a 4.35 ERA is not great. 127 strikeouts in 120 innings. Look, 120 innings is exactly as much as Zack Gallen threw last year. And I just want to point to, look at the ERAs. That's a 4.30 and a 4.35. Those are similar.
Yeah.
120 innings for Gilbert. 121 and a third innings for.
Why am I seeing 4.68 ERA for Logan Gilbert?
What am I looking? Oh, I'm looking at projections. I'm retarded. 4.68. Yeah, you're right. All right. Well, then.
But
man, I love
your
that.
point though. The thing is, like, I'm probably not taking either of these guys. I don't know.
I think I am. I think I like these guys as a number 3 target. Either one of them, I'd be fine with as my number 3, or even better, my number 4.
Yeah.
In the 10th round. Like, I think in the 10th round, you want this as a 4. Let's jump a little bit further ahead, and here's a really interesting one. Both going at 181 overall, Clayton Kershaw and Adam Wainwright.
Wow.
Yeah, 181, which is 12th round. This is like this is definitely your number 4 at this point. It should be, anyway.
Is Kershaw healthy?
I don't know.
Is he ever?
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And can Wainwright replicate what he did last year? At 40 whatever years old. Look, if we're my point, if we're, I'm not saying that Justin Verlander and Adam Wainwright are the same pitcher, but if we're saying that Verlander can come back from Tommy John surgery at 40-something years old and be the number 1 with a bullet, I think we have to give Wainwright the benefit of the doubt and say that he's in that discussion as a 40-year-old who can pitch. So I'll probably give the edge to Wainwright, but I like Kershaw is still Kershaw.
Mike Haber, you owned Adam Wainwright last year. He was the ace of your staff, and a waiver wire find if ever there was one.
Yeah.
Would you take him or Clayton Kershaw in the 12th round?
I think I'm still going with Kershaw here.
I think I am too.
Yeah.
Now, Kershaw hasn't signed a contract anywhere, and there are some landing spots that might have me drop him below Wainwright. Colorado, for instance. He's not doing that.
Right.
But I leave all incredible options open.
Yeah.
That being said, yes, Wainwright is 40 currently. He'll be 41 in August. Yeah, I think I take the upside on Kershaw because if I can get 165 innings out of him, I think that'll be better at 34 than Wainwright is giving us at 40. Two more here really quickly. Going to have two comeback stories here. Mike Clevenger at 192, Noah Syndergaard at 194. And here we're talking, fairly deep. This is 13th round. This is probably a bench pitcher or your number 5.
Give me Syndergaard. Give me
Syndergaard?
Syndergaard. Yeah, the upside for Syndergaard.
Syndergaard in LA is
yeah.
Mike?
Clevenger.
Yeah, I think I'm with you.
Give me
I'm
Clevenger.
with you on Clevenger, man. Like,
Yeah.
Clevenger was really good the last time we saw him. And, I mean, granted, 126 innings in 2019 was the last time we saw anything of substance from him.
Yeah.
And he's thrown 41 innings since, and that was in 2020, and he did not pitch last year.
Right.
That's not great.
But same thing for Syndergaard.
Right. Syndergaard's terrible too. And I think the last we saw of a healthy Syndergaard wasn't good either. 2019, a healthy Syndergaard, 4.28 ERA, 10-8 record, 197 2/3 innings. Missed all of 2020, missed essentially all of 2021. So
I think the upside.
I think the upside is higher for Noah.
Yeah. And at that point in the draft, like that's what I'm going for.
I could hear that, especially as like your number 5. It's where you feel the upside is. Dart throws here, all at 300. Alex Cobb, Luis Patino, Jesus Luzardo.
Oof.
300 is 19th round. So this is end of your bench. Like, which flyer do you like best? Cobb in San Francisco, Luis Patino in Tampa, Luzardo in Miami.
I think I go Patino just because of his pitching in Tampa, and they seem to always kind of chug out these aces. And then I'd go Luzardo probably, and then Cobb.
Jason?
On the other way, I take Luzardo. I don't trust Tampa pitchers because they don't go more than 5 innings, and I think Luzardo in Miami is practically his hometown. The Marlins have that crop of pitchers. Like, give me Luzardo, then Patino, and whatever Alex Cobb is.
You guys are sleeping on Alex Cobb, and that's a damn fucking shame. There was a time not that long ago that Alex Cobb was one of the top prospects, and guess what? Came out of Tampa that Mike Haber is so wonderfully eloquating as to why he likes Luis Patino. The one thing that Alex Cobb is a 30-something-year-old pitcher who's suddenly going to San Francisco. Don't we have a track record of those guys? Gausman, Dave Sclafani, Alex Wood, Johnny Cueto. Don't we have a track record of this? Can we just accept that at 300, maybe Alex Cobb is the best option here? Because, again, we have a track record of dudes. I picked up Dave Sclafani last year as a free agent, dropped him, and then picked him back up and never dropped him again. Alex Wood was out on free agency for a while, and I'm really upset he never landed on my team. And Kevin Gausman, not 2 years ago, was like a breakout star there. We've seen this work. Alex Cobb sort of fits that bill, doesn't he?
He does.
He does. But I think for me, Luzardo has the higher upside, and
that's why he would be second for me. I think I like Miami's situation there. I think they like letting their pitchers go longer. Alcantara is proof of that. Pablo Lopez is proof of that. So Luzardo will get more rope. And Patino might have the better skills and have the higher upside, but I don't think he's going to be allowed to do just like Blake Snell and McClanahan, and the list goes on. So my order: Cobb, Luzardo, Patino. Are there anybody beyond the 300s that you guys saw that are like, wow, I like that? Because I have 2.
Beyond the 300s.
Yes. Because I absolutely love Sixto Sanchez at 342.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, that's still 300s.
Yeah, beyond the 300s. It's higher than that.
Yeah. Taiwan Walker at 348. Okay. Like, I don't know why everybody down on him. Like, he had a rough August, but like or rush September, whatever it was. But like, I like Taijuan Walker in the Mets rotation,
especially if he's going to be the number 4.
Right.
You know, like it's slated that he's going to be the number 4 right now. He could be the number 3. It was a pretty good season for him.
But you're right. Cesar Sanchez and Eliezer Hernandez they're going back to back in this. I would kind of take either of them, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mike, you see anybody?
I'm looking like real deep here.
Okay.
Real deep. Danny Duffy. LA Dodgers.
577.
577.
Wasn't he injured? Wasn't he injured?
That's the question. Is I don't know if he's going to be fully healthy.
Right.
I don't know. I haven't seen a whole lot of news about him.
If he is healthy,
if he's in the rotation, that'll be interesting. That'll be really interesting. Hey, you were looking pretty, guys. Mike Soroka is going 596. That's undrafted in our league.
Does he have a foot? Is his foot still around?
Mike Soroka update. Let's see.
He's torn that he's had that Achilles problem for like 2 years now.
I know. And like that's a whole lot of upside going undrafted.
Yeah.
He's going ahead of David Peterson. Let's see. I don't see a whole lot much deeper. Oh, Josh Fleming. Josh Fleming's going 655. There you go. Are
we done on Patrick Corbin, or like is 400 too late in the draft for him? Like, is Corbin not draftable?
I'll never touch him.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. The only reason he's still a national is because he has that huge contract and they couldn't move it at the deadline. You know, nobody wants to pay him for that, and he's been awful for a long time at this point. Like, he got a huge deal from the. This will go so much more into my Arizona Diamondbacks rant, but like, the Diamondbacks let him walk after that really nice season in 2018, and he had a pretty good season in 2019 and helped them win the World Series. But ever since then, he's been absolute 100% putrid dog shit, and. Like, the Diamondbacks look really fucking smart. If they hadn't turned around and went and signed, like, Madison Bumgarner the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Yeah. All right. Speaking of Madison Bumgarner, 446 overall.
What about Luis Heel, 444?
You know, he's an interesting cat, and I wonder if he's going to be part of the package that they're going to send to go get Matt Olson.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like it's Luke Voigt, a pitcher, and something else, and they'll go get Matt Olson.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. I will also buy back in on Brady Singer before I buy back in on Patrick Corbin. Brady Singer was going right before him, and I'll buy in on Dane Dunning at 404 before I buy in on Patrick Corbin.
And by the way, real quick, we were talking about Logan Gilbert and Zach Gallen. Going after them in this is Sean Manaea and Eduardo Rodriguez. I would take either of them over either of those two.
I agree.
I would love to see Manaea go to the Mets. I'd love to see that.
Sure, but even if he doesn't, I'd take either of those two guys over Gallen.
I agree.
All right, we've got 4 left here, relief pitchers. First off, Liam Hendricks and Josh Hader going at 33 and 34 respectively. I'm sorry, 34 and 35 respectively. That, in fact, is the beginning of the 3rd round.
Sounds like a Ben question.
Right? Which one do you go with?
Yeah. Either one.
I would say whoever's left.
Yeah.
Right? Whoever goes first, I'm getting the other one. Like, I'm okay with that.
But so has Ben set a precedent that, like, are we taking closers this early in the draft? Because there was a time where we weren't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there was a time where,
and all of a sudden,
yeah.
Because here's my question, and we'll go through the other 2 more here, and then I'll ask you a question. So, 62 and 63 is Raisel Iglesias and Emmanuel Clase.
I gotta stay Clase.
I think I like him as well, but I concede the fact that the Angels have the higher upside as a team,
Yeah.
and Raisel Iglesias could have this higher save total if everything goes right for LA.
It could, but the Indians also are going to have trouble scoring runs, and they're going to win 40, 50 games.
40 I would hope so.
So, like, Clase is going to save a lot of the games that they win because it's going to be close. That's what happened last year.
Yeah.
Jason, which way do you lean?
I probably still lean towards Iglesias, but again, if they're both there, I'm kind of covering my eyes and pointing and clicking. Like, they're...
Mike Haber, this one's interesting for you. Ryan Presley at 71 or Edwin Diaz at 69? Nice.
Oh. That is a tough one. I mean, they both have job security at this point.
Right.
I think I would probably go with Presley.
I'm going Diaz. I'm sorry. I'm going Diaz all day, every day.
Okay.
Over that guy.
Yeah. I probably am too, but I can see why you would take Presley, Mike, but call it a homer pick, but I'm taking
the Astros might be the better team. I would probably venture a guess and say that they will be next year. But Diaz is the better pitcher.
Yeah.
And he has the higher strikeout upside. Now, is he also volatile as fuck? Yes. But I think that the Mets will put him in a position to succeed, especially now under Buck Showalter, who has been so great with bullpens before.
Yep.
Only 8 strikeouts separate those two from last year. Only 8.
Yeah.
And a full ERA better for Presley. Full 1 ERA.
And Presley had more innings.
He was very impressive.
Presley had fewer walks.
Yeah, I'm going Presley all day.
Diaz had fewer homers. Yeah, it's a fair argument. The last one here, guys, Mark Melancon at 128, who's going to close for Arizona, or Craig Kimbrell at 135 without knowing where he's going to end up.
For me, it's Melancon. I'm done on Kimbrell. Like, I've been done on him, and that, like, I mean, look, maybe it depends on where he goes, but I can't think of the top of my head a team that like would need a closer, like that would be a quality team. Like, who?
The Dodgers don't have one right now because Kenley Jansen's a free agent.
I bet he resigns.
The Padres don't have anybody right now.
Red Sox.
The Red Sox don't have anybody of note.
Okay. I'm still taking Melancon.
Even Seattle could probably go get somebody. Like, do we believe in Drew Steckenrider and Paul Sewald there? Do you really believe in them? Diego Castillo, Ken Giles, Anthony Misowitz, our favorite baseball-playing Jewish man.
Yes, he is. I'd probably go Kimbrell, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think he ended up in a bad situation, and not a bad situation, but in one of the only situations where he went to a team with an elite closer. So of course he's not going to close.
Toronto could even go get him.
Yeah,
but
Toronto
like,
could get him.
Okay, but he didn't close, but he was still terrible.
Well, that's the whole point, is that when he was closing in Chicago, he was light out.
Well, so what changed?
Like, he wasn't the closer in on the White Sox. When he was on the Cubs in the first half, an 0.49 ERA, 64 strikeouts to 36 2/3 innings. He goes to Chicago or he goes to the White Sox, and he's made the 8th inning guy, 23 innings, 36 strikeouts, a 5.09 ERA.
Yeah.
He was just awful.
Yeah. I mean, because of the job change, like he's a veteran. Like, he's not like some rookie who like doesn't know the difference between pitching in the 8th and 9th inning. He's been around. Like, he should know better.
But he's been the closer everywhere he was, except for last season where he hit the skids. I don't like Melancon in Arizona. I like Melancon overall, but like, I don't think these guys are good. I don't think they're gonna have. And somebody's gonna say, you know what? Let me take a chance on this. I think he lands in a good spot. And when he does, I think he flies up the rankings. I don't think he's going to be at 135. But that's my last point I wanted to make here is how many, we were talking about, like, is the precedent the third round for where closers start? Because Ben has pushed us there. And I think I think the question we have to ask ourselves is, like, how many real bona fide closers are there? And how many are we willing to let Ben and now potentially one or two other guys who are playing this strategy, how many are we willing to see go off the board before we have to jump in on it too?
Yeah.
So the first one off the board is Liam Hendricks, then Josh Hader. That's in the second and third round. The next one off the board is Raisel Iglesias at 60, which is fourth round. Then Emmanuel Clase at 63, which is end of the fourth round. Edwin Diaz right after that. Ryan Presley. How many of these guys, at what point do we need to jump in? Because if those 6 guys all go to 2 or 3 teams, when else are we going to start losing out? Kenley Jansen is next at 86.
He doesn't have a team.
He doesn't have a team yet. We know he's going to close. Will Smith at 94.
Where's Chapman?
I missed him. 81. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 81. So he's after Presley, and then Jansen, and then Will Smith.
Got it.
And then Jordan Romano at 103. Giovanni Gallegos at 106. Mark Melanson at 128. Craig Kimbrell at 135. Camilo Duvall at 152.
He's
funny.
He's the Giants guy.
Yeah, and it's like, is he the closer? Because I feel like they have like 3.
Okay, Scott Barlow at 177.
Right. This is where now it gets like
ugly. Gregory Soto at 196. David Bednar at 200. Blake Trinan at 197, who is slated as the Dodgers closer if they don't re-sign Kenley Jansen. Joe Barlow from Texas. Dylan Floro in Miami. Ken Giles in Seattle.
Taylor Rogers.
Barnes in Boston. Yeah. So if we can all agree that there are 9 bona fide closers, Hendricks, Hader, Iglesias, Clase, Diaz, Presley, Melanson,
Chapman,
Jansen, wherever he goes. That's 9. If the first one's off the board in the third round, and another one goes immediately after, and then 2 more in the fourth, and 2 more in the fifth, that's 3 left of the bona fide guys.
Yeah.
So I think, yes, we need to be in on these guys earlier. Because,
but here's the thing, though, is that I got Emmanuel Clase in round 24 last year, round 23.
Yeah, like Alex Reyes was like a free agent pickup.
Yeah, like these guys are going to come.
There's going to be closers in the rough.
Andrew Kittredge was a guy that was like that Jay added, like, and he turned into the Rays closer. Like
he's going 302. And like obviously these things will get a little bit more clear as time comes, but realistically, if we're going to see these monster bullpens, like it's going to dominate a lot of at least the categories that we play for.
Yeah.
You know? And I think it's right now Kittredge shows to be the closer with Fairbanks and Chargois as the 2 setup guys. There's no more Diego Castillo. I guess Nick Anderson is still hurt. So
he's dead. Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Their rotation is interesting. McClanahan, Rasmussen, Corey Kluber, Yarbrough, and Luis Patino. It's an interesting rotation.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Then. Yeah. Guys like Devin Williams, or Karinchak or like guys, I guess you would say like handcuff guys. Do you take them over like a Scott Barlow or like one of the, a Matt Barnes, like one of these like maybe not as great closers that may have the job?
I understand the question. Kendall Graveman versus Dylan Floro. Yeah.
Right.
I think if I own Liam Hendricks, I need to own Kendall Graveman. And maybe Aaron Bummer or Michael Kopech too. I think there's an argument to be made where a strategy should be going forward of I'm going to draft a lot of guys from one bullpen and hope to get as many as possible. I'm not surprised that my 2020 championship team had 3 or 4 different raised relievers on it.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that Ben and Costas are the last 2 standing last year with the bullpens that they had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that we need to rethink how we do this in this league. And anybody like Ari who is avoiding making this a priority at some point is going to be behind the times. And it's very obvious.
I agree with you, but I also think that we don't have to compensate too far. I mean, look at the seasons that you and I had, Joe. Mm-hmm. Like, and we went sort of the conventional drafting way with like heavy offense, heavy starting pitching. Like, we didn't really put that much stock in bullpen, and we still ended up in
right. And that's the savvy pickups you make during the season, and that's how championships are won.
Yeah.
And yet you look at, and I hate to always point back at this, but it's one of the storylines of the 2021 season, but you look at Frank, who traded off how many different bullpen pieces?
Yeah.
For inferior bullpen pieces. Very obvious, like, I don't care about closers. I don't care about a bullpen. I'll get what I can for them. The guy that he most traded with when it came to those closers made the finals, and he was at the bottom. I think that a good portion of this league undercompensates for the bullpen in general. Mm-hmm. And I think this past season is indicative of where we should be looking going forward. I think that a tight-knit starting pitching staff of 4 to 5 guys that you will throw every time or nearly every time out, and a deep-ass bullpen is the way to go from here. Yeah. That is about it, guys. We went long on this one, but I appreciate you both being here. Mike, thank you so much for being up late with us.
Yeah, no, I had a great time, and always a pleasure talking baseball. Hope you guys have great New Year's celebrations.
I'm working because, of course, I am. Jason Ashby, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Yes, thanks for having me. Again, also, always a pleasure talking baseball with you guys.
Guys, thank you so much for being here with us. We wouldn't be here without you. And if you are following us on YouTube, where we are currently, go ahead and leave us a comment. Let us know that you're following us. Subscribe if you haven't. Ring that bell. Let us know so that you know when we upload. Follow us on TikTok, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, everywhere there is to be found. It's the Bigs Podcast is there. Until next time, guys, thank you so much for being here. It has been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the Bigs. We'll see you next time.